This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Well,
today is Wednesday, November 1st, and indeed it's the blessing of the Lord that we have made it into a new month. I'm happy to be alive. I hope you are too. Certainly, it's Wednesday, it's midweek, and we're planning to give you a good time here on your favorite super morning show, New Day. Of course, it's not only myself. I have Johnny, I have Bright, and of course, Solas Rose Corte, who will give us the news. So good morning, guys. How are you?
I didn't know today was first of all.
You didn't?
Yeah. 11 months into the year.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Oh,
It's
God.
surprising
God
because
is so good.
He
I didn't know
is.
we'd
He
get to
is.
this point. When we started, I was a bit apprehensive of 2017. Things were not so good in 2016.
Yeah.
And,
But all too
I didn't
soon.
know God could bring us this far. But hey, we're here.
We are.
Good.
Some
First
of us
day
have
of the
already
month.
started drawing up our Christmas list and
Yeah,
everything.
I know. Christmas is such a big deal for
Yeah.
you know.
Johnny owes me green shoes.
I do?
Yeah.
Well,
We
I'll
were
buy
talking
one
about my
from
shoes
Google Play
yesterday,
Store
so-
for you. So
You
also
have to be
said-
specific when you say green shoes, because Wellington boots actually are green.
Green
or
stilettos.
Chinese
Stilettos.
combat.
No,
Like,
green
yeah,
stilettos. That's what you owe me.
It's always better to be
Anyway,
more
but
specific.
today today is 1st November and it's the Poppy appeal
Yes.
for all our veterans. I take this personal because my dad was a uniformed man, so it means a lot to me, and I have a lot of uniformed people around me. Venerable Major Lai and all our friends there in the army. So it's a very special.
Yeah, it's a special one.
It's a special
so
one
what
for
you
us.
need to do is to go out there and get one of them.
Yes, go and buy
And,
something small.
When you do, you contribute to supporting these ones who had served as well and are now retiring and are resting. Need your support. So get in there, pick one from. I hear almost all the filling stations around. Some of, so you can pick one. And
The
contribute
filling
to-
stations that the MP hasn't gone in.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's what I was going
Avoid
to
those
say.
ones.
Yeah, avoid the ones that the MPA
Oh, I see.
said they aren't safe. Go
Yeah.
to those that the MPA said they are safe.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
but George A.C. Boateng has been in the news for a long time.
Well, I'm amazed. That, I've always been amazed at politicians. I was not surprised at all.
Right,
yeah.
that he made that comment.
No, I was not surprised.
Okay, you were not surprised.
No.
You expected him to make it.
Yes.
He had actually delayed.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you're actually waiting,
Yeah, I was
anticipating
waiting to hear.
the
But-
day.
but why do
But
politicians
you see,
do that?
in any case, it's been said over and over and over again. Why are we making George's own, His Excellency George Yusuf Boateng's own, such a big deal?
I think that it comes right to the back of the fact that the Deputy Agri Minister made a comment and he himself, decided to jump and others have followed his lead. So we're expecting that it would have served as an example for him not to have made that, because immediately we appointed a diplomat. You lost your political party coloration and now you assumed a nationalistic, figure. For you to say that you are here primarily or your priority is for party, I mean, how many Ghanaians in South Africa are NPP card-bearing members?
Yes.
And I've heard people, young people, defending it. And I think that it is not, because it is our future. So that if tomorrow, I may be an NPP person today. If tomorrow I cross carpet and become an NDC person and an NDC ambassador, an NPP ambassador is there, it means that I have no stake. If I am on scholarship to South Africa, it means that when I go and demand for my stipend, I'll be told that I should hold on, the NPP person will be dealt with first. If I go there my visa is expired and I need help, I will be told to hold on because the NPP person is there. I think that we need to desist from this. Yes, Harold Laswell said politics is who gets what, when, and how. But even though it doesn't say why, we must add the why.
I wonder if that's what he meant.
Certainly not, maybe. But
we're in a sad situation. For me, it's a sad situation because at one point in time, I thought we're not going to do business as usual. But from what we are seeing, we're back to where we started from. It is a business as usual. We're all waiting for the next number of years to come. There's a new government, and then we'll start the whole process again. Whose party is in power is a champion. I was amazingly sad yesterday when I heard the Interior Minister asking that police commanders whose territories vigilantes use to cause mayhem and who won't arrest them will be sanctioned. I just, the whole night, I laughed at this morning. So, Johnny, it is not new. On the ground, what Mr. Isibuatin said is being practiced.
It is.
Yeah.
No, you see,
If he just aired out the views of
yes,
the feelings
he
of
should,
most
he should
people.
have kept quiet and go ahead with his plan.
Yes.
Nobody would have faulted him. His only crime is that he said it openly.
But see, right,
I have heard it over and over again from several MPP functionaries that they will put the but I am surprised it is a new thing.
No, it's not.
Samia
It's
Uku
not.
once said in the build up to the results and then after, he said he will put MPP people first.
Right. See, Mr. Yamin, for example, while he was deputy sports minister, said that only Ghanaian NPP, NDC folks will go to the World Cup. These things have been said, but at the 2016 election, Ghanaians voted for change.
Who changed?
Yes.
Is this change?
Who changed?
Exactly.
That's the big question.
No,
is
who
this
changed?
change?
It does not
If
change
nothing
anywhere.
has changed.
It happened
Then-
under
then
the
the
NDC.
election was useless.
Johnny, it happened under the NDC over and over and over
Right.
again. It is happening. It is the same thing. Don't talk about
And
change.
it did
There's
happen
nothing that is
under the
changed.
NDC.
So
So
the
we just
president-
recycle the parties
just
and we don't really
recycled.
change the
Look,
ideas.
And to think that the ambassadors are appointed from the Flagstaff House, and the Flagstaff House is yet to make an official statement on this, is indeed worrying.
Yeah.
I mean, so the president says one thing, and he does another thing. I mean, this has lingered on for some time. The public are not excited about it, and we're
That's
all
it.
watching.
Go back
Well,
to.
So where's the change?
Go back to 1992, okay, from Mr. Rawlings. Watch all the national awards, people who are giving awards per every government you see. You go back and play back the tape. You see Mr. Rawlings will award NPP, NDC big men
Right.
when he is giving awards.
Right.
Mr. Kufuor will award
NPP
NPP men
choice.
when he's giving
I
awards.
agree.
Mr. Mahama will award NDC men. So
Right.
for me, this thing is not new. Nobody.
But why
should-
do we do that to
Certainly
ourselves?
isn't
Well, I
new.
don't
But
know.
again, when you mention it, when you pronounce it, I guess it
Well,
doesn't
Why
come
do
to
we
a
do
big
that
level.
to
obvious.
ourselves?
But we
Like
have-
if Solis has news to present, and she
Which I
says
do
so,
right now.
If
because
I have
we-
awards, I'll give it to NewDay people.
Wherever it is. Solis, you two,
Well, we
you
change
have
from
news.
that
Give it
kind
to
of
the
Yeah,
people.
I do have news. So we were talking about some political issues. We'll also look at some business, education, and health coming up right now. Good morning, I'm Solis Rose Quarte. This is Morning News on TV3, and to our first story. Member of Parliament for Asin South, Reverend Fojo, is asking the state to absorb the cost of medical expenses incurred by victims of rape and defilement. He laments lots of rape and defilement cases go unreported owing to social cultural factors, which he says must be addressed immediately.
Old girl is reported to have been defiled at Adadientem in the Asin South constituency of the Central Region. Reverend John Fojo, who is the MP for the area, regrets such cases are one too many and deserve a serious campaign to fight against it.
And as a member of parliament for the area, it is my responsibility to take the necessary steps to ensure that we actually end this prevalence within the shortest possible time. We take cognizance of that cultural challenge, and that is why for us in Asin South, we would want to begin with these town hall meetings to heighten awareness with the very opinion leaders who are influential in society, who we believe if they also join this cause, we would be able to have our families, our friends, and our people appreciating that it is a culture that must be improved on.
He called on traditional leaders, family heads and others to refrain from obstructing the course of justice for sexual violence. The legislator asked that the state takes care of medical expenses of victims of rape. MP for Dafiama Buse Issa, Dr. Sebastian Sandari, urged medical doctors who charge victims of rape to reconsider their decision and rather help the cause of fighting for justice.
Do you really have to get the money at all costs from a poor parent or person who is struggling even to overcome the trauma of being defiled or raped? and you know these people come from very poor background, it shouldn't be money first. Let's give them that treatment. Let's work on the report to facilitate justice, to ensure that this person has access to justice.
He condemns the act in all uncertain terms and regrets the socio-cultural factors make it difficult fighting the menace.
We must all report. Once you see it, it is not a state matter. It is not an individual. It's not a family matter. It is not a community matter. It's for the state to deal with. And we have to encourage people to be reporting these cases, especially, defilement.
Statistics from the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit indicate 5,752 children were defiled between 2010 and 2014. The Living Standards Survey 6, published in 2014, indicates 93% of defilement cases are unreported.
The National Youth Authority has challenged vigilante groups to take advantage of job opportunities rolled out by government. Its Chief Executive Officer, Emmanuel Asigri, insists the attitude by some groups could undermine the good policies and initiatives of government.
The Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Authority, Emmanuel Asigri, expressed disappointment over attacks by some vigilante groups. More than 8 cases of outreach by some vigilante groups have been reported recently. Emmanuel Asigri wants members of the vigilante groups to consider November 1 set aside by the African Union to commemorate the hard work of the youth. In another development, the National Youth Authority has indicated plans to engage 500 youth to work at the district assemblies to be paid through the internally generated funds of the assemblies.
They're going to end up as people who would have been certified. Then beyond that, they would be given the requisite gadgets and equipment to be able to go through and deal with whatever activity they'll be doing at the various assemblies.
The CEO again spoke about plans to roll out other policies to engage 10,000 youths in metal fabrication from next month.
In the various models, metal fabrication, glass door, tiling, those who want to do dressmaking, hairdressing, and this is not something we are just doing in a ad hoc manner. So far, what we've done is that we've gone into partnership with most of the associations that run some of these areas. For instance,
37 high-risk fuel outlets have been earmarked to be shut down, but the National Petroleum Authority says it will have to wait until the products reach safety levels. Our reporter Komla Kluche has been finding out whether the current situation doesn't pose a higher risk.
37 outlets have been marked for closure when the level of their stocks reduced to levels within the safety zone. 26 outlets have been reopened after a comprehensive inspection was carried out by the inspections and monitoring unit of the authority. To date, 114 outlets were found to be in full compliance with the prescribed safety standards.
A very strong position the NPA has taken. But why wait when outlets are high risk?
We have to discharge the LPG.
How long could this take?
Well, it can take maybe a day. It can take 2 days. They're still selling, and the more they sell, the more they reduce the stock. So we monitor them on a daily basis.
The numbers are worrying. The disaster took the nation unawares with reactions from all quarters. Government has since taken a tough stance on enforcing regulations. 47 stations have been shut down as a result of government effort to clamp down on those which have yet to meet the requirement. The NPA is pushing a safety agenda, courting public support, but the posturing of the NPA has come under scrutiny from industry players.
It is worrying that you can identify a danger, but you would have to wait for stocks to deplete before you take action. We would expect that those that are not operating safely immediately will be taken down, and as best as practicable, evacuation of those products be done instead of waiting for them to deplete stocks before you take whatever action.
Government says it has given the full backing to the MPA to crack the whip.
Now, moving on from that, an Accra Circuit Court has granted bail to 26 Togolese nationals arrested for staging an unlawful demonstration against President Faure Gnassingbé. This was after they pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of charges.
The charges are conspiracy to commit crime to wit failure to inform the police of an event, failing to notify the police, and offensive conduct constituting breach of peace. The court, presided over by Justice Priscilla Dapamriku, took the plea of 25 of them, with 6 being women. The 26th person, claimed to be 11 years, could not be taken. According to the prosecutor, Chief Inspector Evans Kese, the Accra Regional Police Command on Saturday at around 9:15 a.m. got a hint that some Togolese nationals were demonstrating at the Nima Kaokudi Park, with some riding motorbikes recklessly on the Nima Highway. The police immediately moved in and picked up 26 of them, including 2 leaders who were part of some 300 demonstrators. Lawyer for the accused persons, Godwin Tamaklo, argued that the offense they are alleged to have committed were bailable and assured the court they would avail themselves for trial. Though prosecution opposed the bill, saying the accused persons were Togolese nationals without permanent abode in Ghana, the presiding judge Priscilla Dapamriku went ahead to grant them bail to the tune of 10,000 cedis each, with 1 surety who must be gainfully employed. The case is adjourned to November 13.
An Accra High Court has ruled if it grants an interlocutory injunction in favor of Public Utilities Workers Union, greater hardship will befall government and the Millennium Challenge Compact 2 program. Godfred Tanam reports. Delivering her ruling, Justice Lorenda Owusu said ECG workers do not stand to suffer any serious damages as compared to the serious hardship and damages that the state will endure.
Utilities Workers Union PU filed an application at the Labour Court saying they fear some workers will lose their jobs following the power compact signed with the United States of America under the Millennium Challenge Corporation Power Compact 2 program. PU argued that the decision to cede ECG to a concessionaire constituted a severance of the ECG workers' employment. They stated that discussions that went into negotiations for the sale of ECG did not take into consideration the declaration of redundancy, despite the content of Section 65 of the Labour Act 2005 Act 651. They are also asking the defendants to comply with the provisions of Act 651 and go through the proper redundancy process as laid down in Ghana's laws and paid plaintiffs redundancy pay in accordance with the stipulation of the law. They also wanted an injunction to hold the compact between Ghana and the Millennium Challenge Compact MCC, indicating the injunction should hold the compact between Ghana and the MCC. Delivering her ruling, Justice Lorenda Owusu said the court cannot restrain the state from going ahead with the compact since works have already started, which the ECG workers have not denied. It was also dismissed on the basis that meetings have been held with stakeholders towards the implementation of the compact, which granting the injunction will result in some consequences.
The substantive case of the matter continues. This Justice Lorenda Owusu has assured the parties involved it will be dealt with expeditiously. However, she has urged both ECG and government to continue with negotiations in order to reach an amicable agreement. Godfred Tanam, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, away from that, the National Service Personnel Association has introduced an insurance cover for all its members. The policy covers death, injury, medical and other complementary packages during the service period.
Package. Personnel who lose their life or become permanently disabled during the service period would receive 15,000 cedis insurance cover. Service personnel who become temporarily disabled and cannot be at post for more than a month would benefit from a 3,000 cedis cover. Insured personnel could enjoy other complementary packages, such as a 500 cedis loan to be paid within 6 months.
It's not optional, it's mandatory for all national service persons. Once you finish your national service, you don't have the opportunity again, but you can go to the insurance company and start, but you will not get this special package. 15
cedis would be deducted from the service personnel's monthly allowance during the entire service period. Glyco Life is a personal insurance company.
Anytime any of these events occur, it will be paid for separately. So the fact that somebody, for instance, has already gotten himself injured and having received some money, if that person should die later on, would also be paid again.
Director of the National
An 8-member Civil Service Council has been sworn into office by President Akufo-Addo at a short ceremony at the Flagstaff House with the charge to deal with corruption.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The council has retired Supreme Court Judge Justice Rose Constance Owusu as its chairperson. President Akufo-Addo charged members to live above reproach and work with integrity.
You have to be guided by what is in the interest of the country. You have to be guided by what is in the interest of our people. The public interest of Ghana should be your main consideration. That's why on these occasions I'm always, and it's not just because I'm a lawyer, but I think that the oath that the judges take is an excellent oath, without fear or favor, without ill will or affection, i.e., as instruments of realizing justice in the case of the judges, but in the case of all of us, of realizing the public interests of our country.
Chairperson Justice Rose Constance Owusu assured the president the team will work in the interest of Ghanaians.
We acknowledge the fact that the task ahead is onerous, but with the help of the Almighty God and His direction, we pledge to discharge the duties attached to this appointment to the best of our ability.
Now, reports reaching TV3 indicate that the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, has detained the Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Mauto Avoke, and 5 others for breaching the Procurement Acts. They were reportedly detained after they had reported to the Anti-Graft Office following an invitation. The other officers are the Finance Officer and his Deputy Internal Auditor, the Procurement Officer and Deputy Director of Works and Physical Development. Now, the New Patriotic Party chairman, Freddie Blay, has condemned the comments of Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, who says his priority as an ambassador is to serve members of the MPP. Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, George Boateng, speaking to TESCON members in Kumasi, said he is in South Africa primarily because of the MPP.
I told my people over there that my first meeting with them, I told them that it is because of MPP that I'm here. So MPP man is my priority. I told them when NDC was in power, it was Kwesi Ahoy who was there. Now we are in power, so I see what things here with you. My topmost priority is the problem of an MPP person before any other Ghanaian. Take it or leave it.
Perhaps the stark reality of a hardcore politician being blunt, the condemnations have been pouring in, with many calling for his head. His swearing in of an oath to stand and uphold what is in the interest of the nation. President Akufo-Addo swearing him in was apt.
You have the onerous responsibility of preserving and promoting the image of a country whose reputation amongst the Committee of Nations is high. You have the responsibility to drive private sector investment into Ghana. You are the chief promoters of Ghana's commercial interests to the respective countries to which you are going.
But on August 24, he presented his letter of credence to the South African President Jacob Zuma with the Ghanaian flag boldly behind him. 2 months on, his stance may have shut down the confidence the president reposed in him.
Does the party feel embarrassed about the comments that he's made?
I have not heard the comments. You are telling me, and I don't know whether you are quoting him or you are paraphrasing him.
I am quoting him as a matter of fact.
IEC says that he is primarily there to serve the interests of NPP. I've not heard him, and I don't believe that's what. But I haven't said so. Assuming that is what it may be, is speaking out within a context. But definitely, missions are established not to serve partisan interests. It serves the interests of this country and people of Ghana generally.
The comment from Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, George A.C. Boateng, has been sharply criticized and condemned by a cross-section of the public. For many, this is not a comment that should come from a politician who is representing Ghana in a foreign land, who is serving the interest of the nation. Condemnable as it may be, the Flagstaff House is yet to give an official reaction to the comment that has been widely criticized. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Accra.
Now let's find out what to expect by way of weather for the next few hours.
Report is brought to you by
And that's all for morning news here on TV3. I am Solis Rose Quarter. New Day returns shortly after this. Don't go away.
Welcome back. So it's time for news headlines. So what are the newspapers saying? Let's start off with Daily Statement. It says, deal with corruption in civil service. That's the story on page 2. Also, Kwewu's angry at Fulani attacks. Dasibre, KPN speak out. Then President tells Civil Service Council that they're to deal with corruption in civil service.
Yeah.
Okay, so the two main stories on the Daily Statement there.
So
we saw the story roll out in the news.
So interesting. Civil service, corruption. Sometimes we back at the politician for all corrupt practices, alleged corrupt practices. But down there are civil servants, some of whom are also engaged in several acts that goes to the state losing millions of cedis. So perhaps this is the time, after talking about political corruption, we can also go down to the civil service and take a look at exactly what they do. Sometimes the politician is kind of deceived by the civil servant there. He's told that, look, this is a good deal, sign it, and then it turns out to be bad. So if indeed the president has noticed that this is indeed the situation and is asking the officials to deal with it, that's great news for me. Look, one of the areas where corruption is rife is the whole civil service machinery, where I need to process a document, a simple document that should take just about 1 hour or 2. Because a civil servant wants to hold a document on and make money, that document could be processed in a day or 2 or 3, and that will compel you to dish out some cedis. So we have to deal with it. Make sure the service is indeed as fast as possible. If we clear that, we could be dealing with a lot of corrupt practices in the civil service. But as it is now, we've actually would have to beg the civil servant to work for us. I mean, go to the passport office, go to DVL, go to any other state institution, and you see how slow the process is and why it is breeding corruption. Exactly. I'm hoping that when some of these things are automated, we see some of these practices, the interface changed. I want to process a document, I used online, and I get my document. Then we can cut this corrupt. But if we just sit and say that they should deal with it, well, I don't think we'll go far.
Omar, you see, the whole process of even dismissing a public servant, according to what the Public Services Commission, enumerates for us to follow, is so cumbersome a process that by the time you're done with it, the person could either have found a job or might have been forgotten or whatever it is. So a lot of people get into civil service knowing that, well, sacking them will be a tall order, it will be a tough call for the people, and they know that they are there, their salaries are guaranteed, whatever it is, their KPIs are not properly monitored and all of that. So people working at the ministries or passport office, wherever it is, and they can decide not to go to work for 2 days because they went for a funeral over the weekend, and then they come back, there's a pile of work that they have to do, and they do the work as if they owe you a favor, forgetting that it is your taxes that goes to pay them. So we have a problem with the way it is structured. Of course, not also to prevent the politicians from just sacking people, but then I think that the public servants have taken undue advantage of it and are now misusing it. So that is why we have corruption. That is the main reason we have corruption. Look, if somebody walks into 3FM or TV3 and tells me that, well, there's a problem A, B, C, D, and Community Connect will have to go and do it. I mean, I don't need to demand for anything. I just need to pick the details and get out there and find out and go and do it.
Because you see it as your duty.
Exactly. And if my managers or my supervisors get to know that, well, each time somebody brings a complaint, I ask them to pay something, then I am in trouble. I may lose my job. It is not like that there.
Because someone is adequately supervising what you do. You see, my problem with corruption, yes, it's there. Aside corruption, one thing I'm looking forward to change the civil service, structure is the way we carry out our duties. I, for one, will be encouraged to know that the younger generation that join in the civil service will come up with a new face. Because oftentimes when they join, they meet the old people and they have that mantra of, and they pick up these vices and it becomes a norm, and over time generation is passed on. It becomes like a habit, a culture. But I'm looking at a time when the younger generation can actually bring a change to the civil service and say, no, even though this is how you've done it for long, we've realized it hasn't changed anything for us. It hasn't brought any good. I know it sounds difficult, but I think it's just a will, a desire to change. You can brighten the corner where you are. You can start small. What I've seen in Ghana is you may be ostracized, you may be criticized, but gradually someone sitting there actually appreciates what you're doing. You may be singled out, but take it in your stride to make a change.
Let me give you a shocker. When National Service, the batch started, I had a lady friend who went to one of the departments, I think culture or something, Commission on Culture, and then they went to meet some grown-ups there. So she reported it was just a typewriter and some small things in the office. Then the people said, well, how do you say na humanity o humanity sheda anye din bia oba o pepa niama ne ho a o type kakra o bra no akobreak no aba oba no abra to be down now to me coffee etu debi so na want to me mbe juma to me friend catch it's okay. Yes, that's the orientation they got. So then she called me and then she told me, I said, wow. And mind you, these centers for culture are supposed to be going to the schools to make sure that the children know what our culture is, what our tradition is, and all of that. And so when she told me, I quickly linked it. And I wasn't surprised or shocked at all why our children in the public schools don't know zilch about our culture. They don't care. They don't know. So yes, the young people may have the enthusiasm from school to want to come and do something. But when they get there, those who will supervise them, I mean, you can't outrun your boss.
Johnny, that's where I have a problem in Ghana. Why is it so?
If you outrun your boss, you will be sacked.
Suffer for it.
Or
That is the
transferred.
assumption. But we actually push it.
It's
we
not
actually
assumption.
accept?
It is the reality.
I know. But Johnny, but it's time we all, you see, that's why now with democracy where there are voices, I for one feel, even if you have the opportunity to let Johnny know on Community Connect, because you pick it up, you push the agenda. We'll make sure we fight for that person who has been ostracized. You get it? It's high time we all come together as a nation to decide that some of these things don't inure to our benefit. But civil service, why should I pay? You know, one time I was shocked because I went to Controller Accountant General Department and I was asking, some questions because I wasn't getting my salary. I was asked at some point to facilitate a process. And at that point, I'm wondering, what exactly does it mean to facilitate? Because you are working, this is your job, you are paid for it. No one comes to the hospital and asks me to facilitate my work as a doctor because I know I'm going to get my salary for doing whatever I'm doing. And these comments are worrying. Don't laugh about it. I'm very serious.
That's a reality.
It's wrong. No, it's terrible.
But that is the reality. I mean,
it shouldn't happen.
So that's it. The process is slow. Okay, the civil service is slow. The red tapeism, the bureaucracy. If we want to deal with corruption in there, let us make the process such that it is not slow. People can process documents faster. When we do that, we can handle corruption. But if we're asking the Civil Service Council to go in and deal with corruption,
but right, see, you know why till tomorrow we'll have foreigners, Nigerians, Sierra Leoneans, Liberians, whoever they are, Togolese get Ghanaian birth certificates and passports. You know why? Because when they get there, you will refuse to pay, but they can pay. They will pay.
It's not they will.
And they pay double.
Heavily.
So we'll have a Nigerian have 3 Ghanaian passports, and you're wondering who endorsed it, because before you get a passport, somebody must endorse it. Somebody must say either of your parents was a Ghanaian, your specific address, garant for you. So who are those who endorsed it and who vetted the documents to get it? Money exchanged hands, clearly. And up till now, no single person, after that case was sent to court, no single person from the passport office, from the birth and death registry or whoever has been held accountable for it. So if the president says the Civil Service Council should deal with corruption, they have a tall order.
Oh, they do.
I don't envy them at all.
I wouldn't want to be in your shoes.
I don't envy them at all. I don't envy them.
Let's move on to the finder. It says 108 LPG stations fail NPA test. 45 remain shut, 37 earmarked for closure, and 26 reopened. Also, ignore cheap propaganda on cocoa price. That's coming from the chief cocoa farmer. Then appeals court dismisses World Bank's IFC and OPEC application against Quantum. Then finally, Boakye Ejaku, Minister for Energy, backs review of Ameri Power deal. This Ameri Power deal thing, would it ever go away?
Is it the same Ameri that...
they went to Dubai for?
And we're told that Boakye Ejaku may have judgment that, over his head, and he may go to jail for that. Let's see how it goes.
Really?
Let's see. Yes, I mean, you haven't heard.
We have, but does it work?
The key thing, Johnny,
do they go to jail for it?
The key thing here is this. If indeed the price that is being talked, I think the key problem here is the pricing of the entire project. The concerns, one of which is that it was overpriced, and that we can read fraud into it. And I have heard commentators always talk about Ameri and say that there's fraud in there, and that on the open market it was this, and that we went in for that, which was a higher price. And we know that if there is fraud, then it means that the whole contract is fraudulent. So for me, this back and forth about Ameri and what it is and getting back to Parliament to rescind the decision, for me, I don't know why we're wasting time. If indeed the entire contract was fraudulent, as we're saying, why not? Who can take you on for abrogating a fraudulent contract? No. Except you cannot prove that the contract is indeed fraudulent. Okay, but if we can prove and show that this is indeed a fraudulent contract, I mean, we just decide to pull out of it. Nobody can take you on.
But you see, I don't get the sharp division you have in Parliament, where the minority says it was the best we could get you at the time, and there's nothing wrong with it, and the majority says we see everything wrong with it. And that's Parliament, where we're supposed to have consensus, the representation of the people, and it is sharp like that. Yeah. I only hope that we get on such nationalistic.
Look, the minorities' view, we can listen to them. We have a government in power. Let the government of the day take the decision.
Right.
It's as simple as
simple as that. Anyway, in taking decisions, George A.C. Boateng is decreed, and Osunu members first. He says this is Tilapia's animation of what it is. So around the table. On a riser is MPP members only or Osunu members only, and this is the national cake with the national flag. There are 4 MPP members with Mr. Isibo. It says, well, every other Ghanaian can feed on the crumbs. So the crumbs on the floor. And so it be me and you where we did it down there. We are kneeling down, squatting down
but
there.
you have been tagged as an MPP member before, so I'm sure you're up there.
Oh, but I've also been tagged as an NDC member.
So for now, today we'll take MPP. You're up there.
Even PPP at some point, so it's okay. So where will you put me? You the one with the big fork?
Yes.
Oh, no. Oh, then I want to be Mr. Isi Boateng, so that...
You can't, unfortunately. But anyway, guys, it's time to
as
rant.
for me, I'll tell you that, look, Mr. Isi Boateng is not a career diplomat. He's a politician who was asked to go and serve there.
Exactly.
What he said, if we think it is wrong, but I tell you, on the ground, that is what is happening. And this morning, I have just been... Look, go and read the book, Politics of the Belly. And you understand what Mr. Isi Boateng is saying. Good morning. I hope you're watching.
I'm sure this raises the concern that we need to have career diplomats appointed as diplomats and not politicians who, because look, no matter what, they will have their political coloration. So we have people who have gone to school to learn to become diplomats, who have worked in the field as diplomats and all of that. It gets to a pointing, and we choose political people who know next to nothing about diplomacy. I mean, this statement, if the South African government hears it, I mean, really?
Anyway, guys, we're ranting. So, like the headlines for Daily Statement says, Kwewus are angry at the Fulani attacks. We know the Fulani menace is increasing, and we're worried about it. We spoke about it a few days back concerning how best we think governments can help in bringing this menace to a halt. I don't know what you also have to say, but George hits the streets of Accra to hear your views.
With a primary occupation of raising livestock, that is what defines who a Fulani herdsman is. But it's quite unfortunate the Fulani menace has resurfaced as more die in clashes with nomadic herdsmen. And reprisal attacks in Kwewu has left 9 persons dead, and also in Yendi, 2 persons have been confirmed dead. Given the enormity of this whole problem, what is the way forward? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
Fulani for say yes, how almost yiri no ma. The me who ye penny say ebia Fulani for ebia on worry I beni and say on worry twine no kwa na me bet me ma ko Fulani for. There was a time I call her to see her kun Fulani for ni me who Fulani for no so adwane efi class titi car so kita kuko ni obi ni kita mponchi no muntare a di nam donko kroma di call the other surrounding villages for it is ka say Fulani na mu dwin say asem kito bi kaka mu ka say mu mpam na mu nye se a enti sa Fulani for no so dosu and on crossing different what's up by the on ni nancy from no treat nyina equal right se Ghana ni kun Fulani ni ayemfa no court se Fulani ni so kun Ghana ni ayemfa no court enye sa Udi wanu ko kan pepe say Fulani fo a enti sa omo so omo wo Ghana ha obi mo ya wo omo ha omo enyi wo ha omo country pepe
Fulani fo asem na ye kai enye Fulani fo keke ahimfo Fulani fo wo omo prom no omo so no hu bi etutu asem na ye ko no nyina bi tunu Fulani fo na adeso no nyina no ahwen na wo prom no wanim because I say ohini bi wa na ntio nyina wo Fulani fo
evidence.
Oh, evidence because evidence be any more. Fulani for now, I yes, and you know, when that's strategy.
Say, I won't mean they be so anyway. We are the only thing I can't be bad when you say, Penny for Bebre or MPs, ministers.
Yes, I make a no, or when I look at Fulani for one, honest one will be because you are putting Nipa one to man country. What can I know Fulani for 2 years? Now, say, I say, we, when I what they say then why you found nipa na wu no then why you found but when maybe I no na Josu wo safra no for na mo hwe
sere kaka but some here pa ya ka sane mini ya no mo ya ka wintimi nsore prekope na wo food ya kaka wo start baby ara wo ba food ya start free dua ase saa so na wo ba sane so a wo ba sane saa baby a wo ja wo pa bo a wo fo no wo si a ho na wo ba fa wo pa bo a Ghana ha no ya twan na asam bi si a we anya politics asam o ya ka about Ghana but ya twan anytime here wonenam lord kwan so kura na say ho bi aba amana bi abada ho no mo a ya ntare amana no ji say obi awu ho obi wu ho a GBC ni ade na o ma ba na o ma twe camera tenten me ba pa chonya butare aya mu ka fulani kaka fulani wa free no korom no wan cross bare na o ba ya na o mu cross bare ya ebi fa Burkina ebi fa Togo ne e wo hunu say Ghana ha no enye fulani asa no me hwea Ghana ha nkasa no ye constitution na ye no yare karakadam constitution no enye den ama leeway ama kwan ekova obinumu constitution na ntimi mmia obinumu
but you know regional integration
meba minimpa ne amepa kire ne se Ghana ha ya nom se no enye se na akufa do ne mbremu anase ye bi frititi start free Rollins e wa bia nsoro mara because mara anya dwuma ha mara ba ko pe na ya dwuma Ghana ha wa ba na oban ba nko toilet ba ko onu nko na ya dwuma Ghana ha because me pa cho meba me wie
wo na fi se mra anya
ma se meba
odi boni bi se tia obe se mra wo Ghana wo di wa nu kan se obe ka se mra ni Ghana me mra ni chiwa awa na obe hu se mrachi bi ya wa ha mrachi obi wo Ghana ha o ye tsa akola kitwa
the hard truth they say it's not say you betimi then we will just deport all these Fulani people from
highly impossible.
Difficult. It means we should tackle it. We should come up with a policy to contain them.
Any policy, you cannot put up any policy when the constitution doesn't defend you. I am saying that our laws here, Ghana constitution, is weak. Because so we bet me will be an hour to me na say eba fine na eba mano 3,000 4,000 5,000.
Don't you think that will get out of hand? Because you go for one a wood. Sample issue go for one a wood. So I'm saying that
George, the issue is treat them as Ghanaians. Give us all equal rights. Omunyanya equal rights. Fulani for no so I thought be ekuomo. Mamunya mistake and yes, almost
asena Mr. Kano true because the law no one constitution na o kan so more dey say utimi ku nipa say na eba yo ya yo obi ama won hu Fulani for okun nipa ya ni say won hu wo so oku Fulani say na dey ayo won hu say aso no be
ku obi no obi njira ho obi njira bet me wu fu say bia Fulani na ku na bia nya Fulani ni mpo
Fulani ni ntimi ku ni Fulani ni da ho what me ku Fulani ni da ho so bi wu
Fulani constitution na ya weak na baby anya no ya yimfiri ho na ya constitution no ye
I say in most cases yes stereotype Fulani for the somewhere come for they are criminals you want somewhere hard tag but only say if you want to deal with this ruthlessly you need that whole stereotype no and let's get into it
me point is say someone say mu okurumfa ohemfo no mpanifo mo na ntue nu omo akaba je matuma ribi afa ho because as a Fulani nko na ntue na wode ye de ese niam beberebe se mu asa tukatuga de se ya akoma ribi afa ho mpanifo nsa wom because say you hu ohina na tue for wo no kuro ma mu yesa ne no because no friend for no class no international
ukase ohini na tue wo ohini wo na ntue ase nya boni ana MP wo na ntue ase nya boni tie the only thing was so omo fu say na ntue no omo di kofo mu a omo say nkrofofo omo ne bedidi wo ho ese
omo ni misa ana na mo ya bi mo ka bibi fa mo ohini no ase mo ka bibi fa mo ase mo ka bibi fa
we nim say leadership by example nti ya bese ya koromie wa hana say marapa constitution beti ma kire say ohimfu bia ni ho a obeye na ntwe wo Ghana ha
no you cannot stop them from venturing into their business.
Master, I am telling you that if indeed there is a constitution in
to stop
place,
you from
so constitution cannot stop
can, but I don't think it's advisable.
I am saying that if indeed we all agree, what is constitution? It is something that we all agree on.
I know.
So if we agree on that the chief should shouldn't have a cattle here.
For what? I don't think it's a.
For what reason? You don't think that is your mind. So if you don't think, I don't think. Do you think that we can do this nation for us? I'm asking you. If you don't think, I don't think. Are you expecting? Are you expecting me to think? The Ghana, the laws of this country expecting you, George, to think what you want to think. No, I'm asking you. You are a journalist. Are you expecting the laws of country to allow you to think what you want to think?
I think it would be needless if you say a chief should not venture into, let's say.
Because they are in the trade. That is why we cannot eliminate.
It's not only the chiefs. Even ordinary people are having it. They have it. It's not only the chiefs.
Yeah, your constitution is say IGPO commander now be our server abanyase no ekwan bi ani wo say wo betimi aye nantwe amana ye say your constitution sir so that's how you're going to betimi because say we ordinary person we ma me kan kire wo a wo jini hoyi wo George na nka wo nantwe jan no ni ma ha na wo nantwe no nko pia wo bi ni bi to fam wo hu ade aye ba yo wo duru ni ma ha wo sampa bo ansa na wo ko ni ma but say wo himfo wo ni ma ha ne nantwe na asai ade wo ha wo ba duru ni ma ko ni station na commander aka kire say this one is above my decent.
If you go to Holland, if you go to Denmark, I am more like deserted areas. No, Honor, they train once you run.
I mean, now we are born from Ghana. Who for Ireland in Yamandia? Wamudia Constitution, Mumudia, when Juma. Constitution of Ghana, Republic, but we can
liken ourselves to we want to be like them.
Unless we come back to the Constitution. Okay. Have you done a weaving before? When you are weaving a basket, you see the foundation, even the building.
Village before, how can you weave a basket?
So,
he has never stayed in the village before.
So let me look at him on it. When you are building, the foundation must be solid. Yeah. That is what I am saying.
So there's this saying, so I'm becoming a measurement count. Maybe what farm, name so Fulani for Abe with their Mbwana, I'll be peeved. But it doesn't mean I also took the laws into my hands. Maybe what?
I who took the law? That is why I'm saying that. Do you want the laws to I'm coming. Do you want the laws to work in
Yes, it should work.
And I am telling you that where are we driving the laws from? Is it not the Constitution? That Constitution is weak.
It's a heated argument here, and I know you have some views that you have shifted. That's what you think about this. Just go on to our social media platforms on Facebook. So we sit and talk to issues. Right, thanks so much for staying with us once again. The newspapers are here ready. The Heritage, the Statesman, the Finder, and the Gold Street Business. The stories are already known. We're not guilty. 26 Togolese protesters defend demo against Nyasingbe. Statesman deal with corruption in civil service. President tells Civil Service Council. Kwawu's angry at Fulani attacks. 108 LPG stations fail NPA test. 45 remain shut. 37-year marked for closure, 26 reopened. That's the story, the big one on the Finder. Boache Jakun backs review of a Mary Power deal. And the chief cocoa farmer says ignore cheap propaganda on cocoa prices. These are the newspapers here. My guest this morning, to my extreme left, Member of Parliament for the Lejokuku constituency, a member of the NPP, Dr. Bernard Okoboy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Hope you're doing great.
Vice great, sir.
Grateful for your time with us once again. And then Senior Lecturer, University of Education, Winneba, Dr. Ahmed Jinapo is here. Good morning to you. Good morning, sir. Hope you're doing great.
I'm doing all right.
And Abdulaziz Mohammed is the Member of Parliament for the Mion constituency, a member of the NDC. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great too.
I'm terrific.
Grateful, gentlemen, for your time this morning. Let's quickly jump into the Heritage this morning. There's a story on page 9. It's about the issue of vigilante groups, and the Interior Minister, Mr. Ambrose Derry, has charged police personnel in the country to stop efforts by the government in bringing to an end the increasing rate of crime in the country. According to him, the increasing rate of vigilantism, human trafficking and robbery, among other crimes, must be tackled head on. He was in Cape Coast
as part of his tour of the central region. Mr. Derry pledged the government support to help end crime in the country. Now he says, we will stop vigilantism. I'm giving you the order today that if there is vigilantism in your area and you do not produce the perpetrators, you must be sanctioned, and we must get evidence of that. We are not going to go back. That's Mr. Derry talking, asking police commanders to arrest members of these vigilante groups, and that if they do not, they will be sanctioned. That's the story in the Heritage. Dr. Okoboy, let me begin with you. If the commanders don't arrest these persons, the Interior Minister says he's going to sanction them. Perhaps is he himself saying that he cannot stop the practice, so he's asking his police commanders to do it?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me start by saying a very good morning to all my brothers who are here, to my constituents, brothers and sisters watching from Lejukuku, and also to His Excellency and his team. You know, in the past 10 months, this government has done some significant things. We've rolled out the free SHS, very monumental policy. Everybody is saying this is very well and all that. We've done very great things, restored allowances and tried to stabilize the economy and all that. It's a clean white shirt, which is now being blotted by some of these acts of vigilantism. They are, in fact, they are the low points when it comes to the 10 months of NPP's governance.
It didn't start before you rolled out these policies?
No, what I mean is that with all that we've achieved, all the achievements can be threatened by these acts of, how do you call it, lawlessness, perpetrated by some people with affiliation to the NPP. But you see, I always say that there is the structural management of this, how do you call it, this lawlessness or these incidents we're having, and the political management. The political management being that the things that foment such things, we ought to address them. And you know, I would not list incidents that occurred during previous governments to create the impression that I'm interested in rationalizing it. It's not good yesterday. It wasn't good. It's still not good today, so I'll not go there. But the point I want to make is that once they happen across governments, there is some cause. Something foments those things. Relationship between MCs and the party from which they were elected. Sometimes you don't need to provide what party people want. You only need to establish a rapport, and that can quite, how do you call it, misdemeanor and all that. Now, when the Delta Force were giving the courts in Kumasi the sentence, I heard people who said that, oh, the sentence was soft. They were treated with kid's glove. I didn't resist or contest those people too much, because I appreciate where they were coming from, if they want a deterrent. But, you know, sometimes I try to refer to scripture because it helps to explain some things. When the woman who was caught committing adultery was brought before Christ, if you look at the law, she was supposed to be stoned to death. But Christ said, let the one without sin stone, and cast the first stone. They all left. But before discharging the woman, to emphasize that he was not in support of adultery, he said, you can go, but don't do what? Sin no more. When the punishment came for them, I was quiet and did not complain too much, because I assumed that it was going to serve as a serious warning to others not to engage in such an act anymore. But to have some of these incidents in Karaga and elsewhere, I mean, this is unpardonable. And you know what? I blame and believe that they must be dealt with. But the one I blame more is the police commanders. And I'm happy the Interior Minister went ahead to ask them to act or face some sanctions.
Why do you blame them?
Excellent. If I'm the Minister of Education and kids don't attend class in Greater Accra, you have a particular school, there's a headmaster, the kids don't come to school. It is unfair to jump straight away and say that, now, Minister of Education, come here, what is happening? The first person to question is the head of the school. That's why I'm saying that you have a regional and a district police commander in the region. Not even the regional, the district, or even the station. When you come to Teshin, we have a police commander in Teshin. They have a divisional commander. You have a policeman who is supposed, by duty, he is paid to enforce the law.
I see.
No. You see, sometimes.
Talk about you are a politician.
No, I know.
and you know that the youth organizer of a party in the district has more power than the police commander.
You see, because you tell me you started by saying I'm a politician, I sort of understand where you're coming from.
Exactly.
But to make the country function, to make the structures work, even if politicians have ways of exerting force, let a police commander act so that the politician who will rise against him, all of us will go and say that this cannot be right. If this is what we are saying, then this country is headed for doom. You see, my issue is that at least let us see some sign of proactiveness or action from the police. If anybody tries to obstruct their work or to make life difficult for them, then we can say that the politician is so wrong. But we have a situation where a policeman will only get up to act when the president says that I expect you to act. That is not proper for this country.
Let me ask you this. From what you just told us, there were a group of these men who appeared at the National Forum in Tema and threatened. It was a national forum. So I'm presuming that the Interior Minister, who, in other words, we can say is the Home Security Minister, should be the one in charge. But he didn't arrest them. So why is she asking police commanders to do that?
I'm happy you said they threatened to cause mayhem or whatever. I know you can be charged and brought before the courts for even threatening. But my issue is that for these guys in Karaga and elsewhere, they actually went ahead to chase public officers from the officer. They actually have executed the act. You understand? And we need a few to be taken through the due process, dealt with without any form of, how do you call it, tampering justice with mercy. Because with the first case, Delta Force, when people say they were treated, it was not harsh. Like I said, I agree with them. But I was comforted with the hope that others will not even dare do such things. And my brother, forgive me, but it's very important to mention that it must come to a point where we have to act as a nation. The police must be proactive. You know, recently the president made comments reference to a girl who was raped, and traditional authorities tried to. And when the president said he expects the police to act, immediately the police went for the person who was brought before the court. The police should not wait for the president or the executives to talk before they act. They need to be seen to be acting and actually to act. You know, and my brother, look.
Wrap up for me.
I have not contested you when you mentioned or you hint that politicians have a way of interfering. But we've come to the place where the police should act so that when a politician tries to interfere, we can come to their aid and make sure that they are allowed to do their work. It's very, very important.
I'm grateful. Honorable Aziz, so the police is to be blamed for what is happening because they have not acted. And so the Interior Minister says that henceforth, police commanders act or get sanctioned. We can deal with the issue of vigilantism this way?
Good morning to my colleagues and good morning to our viewers. Well, it is interesting that in trying to discuss the lawlessness that is currently going on in the country, my colleague and brother veered into free secondary education and some other achievements of government. Free education has become an answer for everything in this country. And that tells you how low we have sunk as a country. Oh, it's true. I mean, you are talking about some lawless acts of your party members, but just have your cool. You see, if you check the dictionary, the word vigilante is not what we are seeing today. These guys are just some reckless, some internal terrorists, you know, homegrown terrorists that are visiting mayhem on everybody. And it is very clear that there seems to be some political conspiracy in this country. There is an attempt to blame the Ghana Police Service for not acting. We're all in this country, and we know how politicians can interfere with some of these things. The IGP who heads the Ghana Police is appointed by the president. And you will know that President Akufo-Addo would only be appointing an IGP who he is comfortable with. Someone he can go to bed and be rest assured that he would clearly
toe his line. And so we all know what's happening in this country. And so we should not seem to be blaming the Ghana Police Service for not acting. I'm sure if we were to leave them to act by their own professional ethics, the Ghana Police Service would have dealt with this issue long ago.
We're not allowing them to act?
The political class, those in leadership, are not allowing them to do their work.
How?
Well, you see, you may not have the material evidence to support this, but there's enough circumstantial evidence to support the fact that the political class, especially those in government today, are not allowing the police to work. Because these boys who are vandalizing state properties, who are burning state properties, these are members of the NPP. Why is it that no member of the NDC or CPP or PNC is caught in such an act? It is because they think that our party is in government and that if we do some of these things, look, none of the attacks that we have seen in this country happen under the cover of darkness. They all happen during broad daylight. Not even a single person has been punished. The Interior Minister...
Oh, some were fined 1,800.
Oh, you see, we can even go into that one. When you people go into a court of law in broad daylight to vandalize the court and chase away the presiding judge, and all that you do is to hand over some punishment of 1,800 to each of them. Remember what happened in the case of Muntie?
That's the law.
Just remember what happened in the case of Muntie,
where people said, that is the law.
No, I don't agree with that, but I'm just telling you that sometimes the way the events roll out would give you the cause to suspect that there are some behind the scenes engagements. And let me tell you, even in the case of that 1,800 Ghana cedis fine that was extended to those guys, one of them was heard on radio saying that they knew way ahead how much they're going to be charged. He was heard on radio. And so you cannot take away the conspiracy between some government officials and either the Ghana police or people who work within the courts. It is worrying. And so I think that the minister must come clear. We are not convinced, we want them to walk the talk. They should go beyond just the rhetorics.
So you said the commander should go ahead and arrest these guys?
Why? They should be sacking people. Let's use the case of the ASP Nanka Bruce at the Flagstaff House. That a senior police officer, on the 9th of January, the very day that the president assumed office, a senior police officer was assaulted. The video went viral. Up to now, not even a single person has been arrested. That gentleman who perpetrated that crime is still working at the Flagstaff House. There's no, are they trying to tell us that there is no any record of people who accessed the Flagstaff House on that day? We're only told recently that the senior police officer who was attacked says he's no more interested in the case. And that has virtually brought the case to a stop. How can this be? That wasn't a civil matter. It was a crime. And it is a state, and for that matter, the Attorney General, who prosecutes all criminal cases on behalf of the state. Either the police officer is still interested in the matter or not, should not bring the case to a stop. But you see, you can tell, either the man was coerced or some behind the scenes negotiations may have taken place. I don't have material evidence to this, but we all are we've all lived in this country for God knows how long, and we know what politicians can do. We have too much power in the hands of the ruling class, and I'm worried. You see, my only advice to the MPP is that they should stop some of these things. But you see, they took inspiration. These boys took inspiration from some of their leading members. If you have a national youth organizer of the MPP who was in a position, say that, oh, one win power, go and take position. I have my eye somewhere. I will take position. Don't call to ask me where you should go. Just take position. When there's any trouble, we'll come and rectify it. Today, that same youth organizer has taken position at National Youth Employment. And so these boys are also encouraged to go and attack DCs. In the case of Savulugu, where a DCE who was confirmed could not access her office for months. These guys in Savulugu had the guts to engage the police and the military in broad daylight. Karaga. everywhere in this country. And this is happening under a government and a president who is a lawyer, and sometimes we are made to believe he has the most finest records in terms of human rights, respect for human rights. I get worried. We are not kids in this country. All that I would want to advise our colleagues from the MPP is that they should desist. It doesn't augur well for our country. We must insist on the rule of law. But if this is the way they will continue, if this is the way that they will continue, the Ghanaian public is watching, and I'm very, very, very certain that the Ghanaian public would punish them during the next elections. The Ghanaian public may not have the opportunity to react now immediately. They may not have the power to react immediately. But I'm sure that we all know that every 4 years, the Ghanaian public have the right to decide who governs based on your track record. And so, Mr. Minister for Interior, enough of those rhetorics. We've heard them. They should begin to walk the talk, and let's see how this country. But I don't believe these are vigilante groups. So they are homegrown terrorists.
Okay.
And let's discard them as such.
All right. Dr. Chinapo,
terrorists.
Honorable Aziz, I'm grateful. Dr. Chinapo, so is it as simple as that? That the political class simply edging these persons on? That is why we are unable to deal with it?
Well, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and to my colleagues. I think this story is interesting, and interesting in the sense that there are so many themes that we can pick out of it, and ones that can inform us moving forward. I like where Honorable Aziz ended. He describes them as terrorists.
Homegrown terrorists.
TV3 says they are vigilantes. My brother Doc says they are hooligans. So, depending on...
I said they are engaged
in hooliganism or lawlessness. So, depending on which side of the pendulum that you're swinging to determines what description you want to give them. But let's zero in what the minister said. And I think it's extremely important. The Minister for Interior, who in certain jurisdictions is referred to as the Minister for Homeland Security, Homeland, the one who is in charge for the country's security, condemns actions of certain groups of people. In fact, he says that what those boys are engaging in, they are engaging in actions that more or less does not inure to the security of this country. And we are talking of the Minister for Interior who is making this assertion. And as a result, he calls on the police service, the Ghana Police Service, that as from now, it's very important, that from now, you are supposed to arrest each and every person who engages in what? Such acts. If not, you are going to be sanctioned. The first question that needs to be asked, what was the job of the police? I mean, what is their job all this while? The job of the police is what? Is to arrest people who engage in what? Acts of lawlessness. You don't need the Minister of Interior to come and tell you what to do. That is very, very important. And beyond that, if the police is not doing its job, what should be the consequence? You need to be sanctioned. So is it the Minister of Interior who is coming to tell you that, look, if you don't do your job, you are going to be sanctioned? That, for me, is a little bit problematic. Beyond that, the Minister of Interior making that statement is a clear acknowledgement of the fact that what is going on in this country is not the best. And this narrative is not limited to the minister, but even the acting chairman of what? The MPP, Freddie Blake. In fact, there is a story that says that there's an MPP treasurer who says that these acts are more or less affecting the credibility and the success of what Nanado. And this is being reiterated by what? My very good brother here. So it tells you that this state as it stands now, Ghanaians are not happy about what is going on. So the minister says that, right, if anybody does anything of that sort, the police should arrest the person, prosecute the person, put the person in jail. I think that is an overly simplistic solution. We need to go to the root cause of this whole thing. I mean, you arrest the people and take them. What is the cause? The cause is very simple. These boys need jobs. They need jobs. Anywhere that you hear them what? More or less attacking a place. One, I can give you instances. Take the Kumasi issue, the regional coordinator. They said the regional coordinator was not one of them.
Right.
He said it was not one of them. You go to Karaga, they say the boss does not consult them.
You understand? Go to Savlugu. So it's about them. It's sense of ownership. That's what it is. A sense of ownership and a sense of entitlement. So you need to purge these people of this mindset first.
By giving them jobs? Or?
Well, you need to reorient them.
Talk about the political money.
You need to reorient them. Because look, if you are talking of the youth, and you can see that this thing is spreading, I mean, gradually. Almost every week we are getting an incident here. Recently, I understand something happened at what? Techima.
Right.
You understand? You cannot arrest all this youth. NPP won the elections by a difference of about what? 1 million votes. And why did they win the vote? Why did they win with that margin? Because the youth were promised that, look, when we come into power, we are going to get you jobs. And the reality on the ground is that the truth needs to be told. The jobs are not dead currently. So there needs to be a serious re-education and reorientation of the youth. That, look, we are starting these projects. One district, one factory. One village, one dam. One this, one. It takes time for these things to roll out. But if you want to say, look, you are going to arrest them, you are going to exacerbate the problem. Arresting them is not the way to go. Yes, it is good for them to be arrested if they misbehave, but these are not criminals. They are not criminals. These are disciplined supporters of the NPP, people who worked so hard to get the party into power. And they were promised that when they come into power, they'll be given jobs. The jobs are not there. So what you need to do is to establish what? A dialogue. You need to establish a dialogue with them. And you see, the point is this. I don't know, I mean, it's interesting, the minister's prescription, but if you go to a place like Fufuso, they have about 2 or 3 policemen. 2 or 3 policemen. NPP youth organize. They go to attack a place. They take over the place. You are saying the police should go and arrest them. The police arrest them, take them to Tamale. Meanwhile, the youth are still in Fufuso. The remaining policemen, what is going to happen? It's going to be chaotic. So I think that the approach needs, in terms of solution, needs to go back to the roots. What is the cause? What do they want? They don't go to steal money. Have you heard of the youth going to rob a bank? No, they don't go to rob a bank. They go to the places that they think they are entitled. They go to the places that they think they are entitled. And if you remember, at the beginning of the president and Nanado's presidency, almost everywhere, NPP youth were taking everything, including, what do they call them, hospitals. And, you remember Tamale? The chief executive officer of Tamale was what? Was virtually moved out of what? His place. Because they believe that this is our time. We are entitled. We worked for the government, the party to come into power. They've come into power. We need to take what? Our own. I think there needs to be what? A re-education. Let them understand that the processes, it works gradually. It doesn't work that way.
But Dr. Kuba, is the party ready to handle it the way he's suggesting?
Yeah, you see, I'm happy. So I'm so excited that Doc talked about the political management. You know, sometimes when I talk about engaging and talking, people think I'm trying to subscribe to lawlessness. Why don't you ask that they are dealt with? You see, I talk about it too, but I spend more time talking about the structures, the law, the police institution. But he mentioned that you want to look at the root cause. And then quickly,
even before you come in, but so is the party aware of this political management you're talking about?
Yeah, of course. Let me, but quickly. You see, when I was talking about this, I refrained from mentioning incidents that happened in the past. I want us to look at how to find solutions going forward. But you see the way my brother went. The IGP must be comfortable with the president because he appointed him. He just forgot that the constitution is what created that particular organization, where in the past, when his government was in power, it was appointed by the president. So if you go into those things, you only do the partisan, you don't help us to find solutions. CDD did a report October 2016 about vigilantism, political party affiliated groups. 7 out of 10 respondents associated groups existent to the NDC. 66% of the respondents said, no, I'm just giving you a report. And then 18% said some of the groups were affiliated to the NPP. All the report tells you is that across board you have such groups. That's why I said let's find ways to address such a thing. But you
promised a change.
No, you see, all my talk is to tell you that this is a problem. I've said it's lawlessness. So you don't have a problem. Yes. And I was looking at ways to find solutions. Why I mentioned that the police must act, there must be political management, we need to talk to them. Look, I was in Parliament one morning, some few months after we came into power, when somebody called me. It's one of the gentlemen who I work with a lot, helping me with security and all that. He said, Doc, we want to go to the assembly and take over. Why? Because the MC there is still there. You know, it took some time before the MCs were asked to go for the new ones to come. No. Oh, of course, it was not the day after Nana was sworn in that the MCs.
How can that be?
No, please. It took some months before the MCs acted for some time. Those appointed by the previous government. They gave me a call. And this guy they helped us to go around and around. Like he said, he's not an armed robber or anything. But he believes that once we've come to power, he sees no reason why the former MC should still be there. So they want to go, but he's calling me before because they know they work with me. The first thing I told them that you don't need to use muscle or your strength. Just a paper from the ministry or from the president saying that they should proceed or move, they would go. Because they know that they are no more in power. And funny enough, just the next day, I'm just bringing the political money.
Because I want us to find a solution. You see, the worry here is that when this thing started, the NPP said, this is not a work of the presidency. This is not the work of the party. The NPP said the police must act. Now we are back to square one where we are talking about political management.
Okay,
how then do we do? When initially the NPP has said it is not the party, it is not the presidency, it is the police that must
brother,
work.
you see, the two must occur simultaneously. They are not mutually exclusive. Like my brother said, if you say you are only interested in arrest, let's say you take 2,000 youth into jail. What I do? The next month you take 2,000. The most important thing is that as you pick some, put them through the process to serve as deterrent, you also look at the other side. Look, some of the problems we are facing now, my brothers in the previous government faced it, is the reason why they had a lot of internal conflict, where there is a disconnect between the MC and some of the people who feel that it came from their party. That's the political management aspect. You don't need to provide them with the jobs. You need to engage them, like Doc said. And I told you the one who called me. I only talked to him, and then they didn't do anything. And the next time, what they wanted to see happen through the due process. So we must talk to them. And you know, most of the time, forgive me to say this, more often than not, the strict politicians, those who go to solicit for votes, like my brother and myself, we normally engage more.
Right.
Because we know that they gave us the power. But you have some MCs who don't engage more because their appointment came from the president. You see, that's why the president in his wisdom is saying that this is the last time he was going to appoint MCs. It's to solve a big problem. It's to make look, if MCs go to solicit for vote, most of them, their conduct will not be like this. Where not even party people, where constituents try to approach them and sometimes they are dismissive. They don't want to listen. You understand? Once they go for the voting process, you obviously will go to the constituents to go and ask them for their votes, and they will tell you what are you going to do for us, what are some of their challenges, and they will tell you their problems. Immediately that happens, you will not be dismissive. Anytime they call you, you are accountable. But the system we have now, you have an MC, it's possible to have an MC who does not even know most of his constituents, and yet he's been asked to be the administrative leader. So it is my hope that politically, if we start voting for MCs, it's going to solve a big problem. Let me encourage him that I'm only refraining so that we find solutions from listening. And my brother here, if he's honest.
From listening what?
Oh, the various incidents of hooliganism, people chasing public officers. I mean, all these things, let's be factual. This is happening. I don't want to list them. So because
but Dr. Okoboy, you see, this is where I don't want us to go because the NPP promised change. Don't say that because it happened.
It's because, see, I'm happy you are saying this.
Yes.
It's because of the change. That's why I've not mentioned it.
Exactly.
And I've also accepted.
All right.
I've also accepted that what is happening is wrong. And I've gone ahead to say we should talk in the way. Please, we should talking. No, of course. But that's why the minister is asking the police.
He's talking. He's not acting.
No. He's not. Okay. It's the minister that was supposed to go and arrest them.
Okay.
It's the police who should arrest. Okay. So, encourage him also, knowing the history of all of us. Encourage him also that the way I'm behaving, he should behave as such. We should find solutions to the problem.
Okay, I'm grateful. Honorable Aziz, reaction here. He's suggesting that perhaps the only way out is for the party to begin to talk to these young men and to refrain from that. Is it indeed the solution?
No. Not at all.
The party talking
no.
to these.
You've had your 10.
So I have just
You've had your 10.
He said something. He said the only way. So I didn't say the only. I said
All right,
simultaneously.
So, right.
Police
Police the two
act
together.
exactly.
Police acting and then the party talking to these young.
That is what he termed as political management. You can decide to do that at your party head office and your regional and constituency party offices. You can decide to do that with your party resources where you want to engage your party youth. But that is at your party level. We cannot begrudge you for that. But what I'm telling you is that what they are engaged in is criminal, and those who engage in criminal acts are criminals, and they must be dealt with. I disagree strongly.
Thinks that
I disagree strongly.
These people are not criminals.
No, you see, when you go and vandalize
party members who need jobs.
I disagree with Doc on that matter. That when you have party boys go to a courtroom to vandalize state property, destroy properties of the court, and chase out a judge, that's a crime. And those engaged in a crime are criminals. These are not indiscipline. Guys, they are just criminals. Let's describe them for what they are. These are criminals that must be treated as such. And so I disagree with Doug when he says that these guys are disciplined young guys who are looking for a job. Are we by this inferring that people who are with the NDC and PNC and CPP are not looking for jobs? They're equally looking for jobs because everybody in this country is talking about job creation. And so let's make it very clear that we shouldn't be diplomatic in this issue at all. Let's describe them for who they are. Now, when you talk about political management, do you need political management to arrest that gentleman who assaulted ASP and Nankabus at the Flagstaff House? You don't need political management at all because the video is there. The guy's face is known. If the BNI and the security agencies in this country cannot fish out a gentleman who assaulted a senior police officer at the presidency, they don't know what they are doing in this country. You don't need political management. You just need to act. Now, you see, your party chairman, your party acting national chairman, Freddie Blay, is on record to have said that the MPP cannot disband these groups, that they are part of your process and your structures, and that they cannot disband them somewhere in April. Go and check. If you have your party acting national chairman say some of these things, and now you have a minister trying to buy time with some of these things. Look, we are not kids in this country. Myself and Doc and perhaps Dr. Oko and you we can all lament, but the minister cannot lament. He's been given a mandate, he's been given a responsibility, and he's paid for it. He cannot lament. I don't expect the minister to go round lamenting and saying that henceforth they should be arrested. So what it therefore means that all the previous assaults and destruction of state properties should go unpunished.
I'm going to carry this conversation on.
But see, Brian, when you have a government with a leader who was in opposition, you see, the things you say in opposition would inspire your people when you even assume power. When you have an opposition leader who today is a president, having used words such as all die be die at all costs, take position by your national youth organizer.
All right.
Then you give birth to
let me carry this conversation on. Let me carry the conversation on. I'm carrying this conversation on because perhaps if Dr. Jinapo, you mentioned the issue of jobs, then is this perhaps the reason why His Excellency George A.C. Boateng is suggesting that I am only going to see to NPP, or when it comes to jobs, first see to NPP supporters before every other Ghanaian?
I think it fits into it. And let me say, before this program, I was having a conversation with you to know A.C. Boateng. Because I think the statement that he made is unpardonable no matter how you look at it. It's a statement that can be made in the bedroom, a statement that can be made between myself and Dr. Oko, but not to come and sit on a political platform, public platform, to make such a statement. I'm wondering how he's going to survive it. And even what is even more serious about it is that he seems not to be remorseful about the statement that he made. It's an unfortunate statement. You and I know that human beings by our nature, being egoistic, will always take care of what? Our kind, the people who are close to us. It's natural with every human being.
It's practical.
It's practical.
That's what is on the ground.
That's what is on the ground. That is why even we as lecturers, there are certain mechanisms that are put in place to purge us of what? Bias. If I'm in class and I have somebody who is a gonja, and I'm a Gunja, naturally, I'm tempted to be closer to that person than somebody who is a guy. It's natural with us. But you have to be very, very careful how you manage it, and not to go and stand on a platform to brag about it. And even when you have goofed, where you need to come and apologize and retract, you are so belligerent and intransigent to the extent that you even say you stand by your words. And you even make comparison of wives and all those things. I think the statement that he made is unfortunate. His intentions, I wouldn't say are bad. I mean, naturally, human beings will always want to what? Take care of their own. And if the Nanado administration, of which he got a job from, came into power through the wheels of what? These young people, naturally they should be taken care of. But that doesn't mean that they should be given priority. Even if they are given priority, you shouldn't come out publicly to say it. So, Mr. Ayisi Boateng, I don't know him. I don't know much about him. I don't know his character, where he's coming from, and the position of South Africa is High Commissioner is such a sensitive position because of what? The xenophobic nature of that country. So if you have somebody who also buys into that behavior and mindset of such a country, then it becomes problematic.
Can we forgive him because he's a politician?
I don't think you should be forgiven. I don't think he hasn't even forgiven himself. He's not remorseful. That's why, how do you forgive somebody if the person is not remorseful and the person does not even think that what he said was wrong? I think the president has to crack the whip. He has to call him to order. He has to
relieve him of the
the man will have to come and apologize. And unfortunately, government hasn't even given a statement on this guy's
as of now.
I mean, we need the government in power to make a statement on this issue. Nothing of that sort. But I'll once again respectfully and humbly ask the High Commissioner to retract his statement and apologize to the good people of this country. If not, he needs to be asked.
We have the heritage. Honorable Aziz, the heritage has a story where TESCON, the youth wing of the NPP, suggesting that they are proud of Mr. Ayisi Boateng. They are solidly behind what he said. He said that NPP loyalists won the elections for the NPP, and so what Mr. Ayisi Boateng said is in the right order, and that TESCON is solidly behind him. Should the president sack Mr. Ayisi Boateng?
The president should live by his own words. The very words that he uttered at his inaugural ceremony on 7th of January. Whether he would sack him or not, I would remind the president and the people around him to refer to the speech that he delivered on the very day he was inaugurated as a president. But what's new about this? What is new about this? Perhaps because he's the ambassador. But our brothers in the NPP have shown this trait since they assumed power. They have made it very clear to all of us that you only need to be a true blue party person before you can benefit from the opportunities in this country. He's not the first person. He's not the first person, but you see, as a country, we like to talk a lot with little or no action. I'm aware that the Northern Regional Youth Coordinator, Northern Regional Coordinator of Youth Employment, Mr. Sule Salifu, is on record to have stated in Tamale that as the coordinator for national youth employment in the Northern region, he was going to give jobs only to MPP sympathizers before any other person. It's the same statement that this man has made. He wasn't sacked. So what will make me believe, or make you believe, that the president would sack this this ambassador? Because somebody has made same statement in some few months back in Tamale. Somebody who is recruited as a public officer and paid by the taxpayer had the guts at a public forum to say that as a coordinator for youth employment in the region, he was going to give jobs to MPP followers before any other person. Even football, the World Cup qualifiers, even before Ghana qualified, when they were still going through the qualifiers, Sami Aokwe again, the national youth organizer, was heard live on radio saying they will fly only MPP supporters to Russia. So they have demonstrated enough to all of us that if you're not a card-bearing member, a true blue party person, count yourself out. That is not what the 1992 Constitution says. We all are entitled to the opportunities in this country, irrespective of our political affiliation. It is a constitutional mandate, it's a constitutional responsibility on the president to treat all manner of Ghanaians with some fairness. That is not what his appointees are doing. And so, if Sami Oku is still, and look, after those comments that Sami Oku made, they will fly only MPP, he is today the board chairman, I guess, at the national, youth something. YA. And so they even begin to reward them when they make such reckless statements. I am convinced that the president will not sack this gentleman because he didn't have the balls to sack Sule Salfu as the Northern Regional coordinator of YE. Sami Oku is still enjoying his largesse as a, I don't know whether he's now a government official or a party officer, I can't tell the distinction. He's just a board member. And so, you see, go to national service. Go to national service. They have dismissed young people who were recruited by the previous regime. They were recruited somewhere October, November last year. They have dismissed them with no reason, contrary to the Labour Act of 2003. Go to DVLA, go to National Health Insurance Authority, go to Ghana Gas Company, go to Cocoa Board. All those who were recruited, especially towards the end of last year by the previous regime, have been dismissed, contrary to the very law that governs the public service in this country. Right. And so I don't think the president would be bold enough to take action against the ambassador. And why? Even in the run-up to the 2016 general elections, there was this group that emerged, Association of Unemployed Graduates. I don't know if they still exist. Today, I expect to hear from such groups that opportunities in this country must be open to all, unless, of course, they are trying to convince us that they were all members of the MPP. Okay. And then accuse President Mahama then as running a family and friends. I am grateful. Government. Honorable Aziz. Let me just give you some info. You can check as a media man. About 49% of the appointees in this regime, about 49% of appointees in this regime are close associates of the president.
I am grateful for your submission. Dr. Kuboy, this is a public officer making this statement. It puts the one who appointed in a very, very tight corner, simply unable to stretch a hand from where he is.
First of all, let me say that I like the submissions of my brother.
Thank you.
The honesty.
Thank you.
He's not referring to you.
He's not referring to you. The honesty. The honesty. All the time when he's making something, he says we are politicians. Trying to tell you there are some conventions or some things that happen.
Are you a politician?
I am a pastor. But when the way he talks, as if he's not one of them. You see, certain practices or conventions are done silently or covertly without being institutionalized. When the LDC is in power, there are people who get to get some jobs or get certain favors because they know people in the government or they work for them. But you don't come out to codify or institutionalize that, to state it as a matter of policy. Let's say at NADMO, as a matter of policy on their gates, that we first deal with MPP people before NDC. If that's what you even do and it's a convention, it's not supposed to be overt. Because once you go that level, it becomes offensive and inappropriate. So, Mr. Isibuati was addressing TESCOM members. And that's one thing too about communication. You can say certain things to TV3 staff only. Once it gets out of TV3, it can become offensive. But to them only, it might look even inspirational. You see?
No, so, it's not defending.
No.
Allow him to
yes. So that's why people make certain comments in their bedrooms or at some secret places. Once a recording comes out, they come out to apologize. But in the seconds of those they made, there was not a need to apologize. You see, he's talking to TESCOM people. and you're a politician, let's say you meet your own kind at your constituency and make some comments to fire them up, and then somebody places somewhere that you really told your guys that if they work hard to bring you to office as MP, you give them scholarship first before give you another person. Immediately it comes and you apologize. But at the time you were talking to them, it was as if it was a way of firing them. So let me be blunt to say that the comment which is out there in the public is not appropriate. It's not, how do you call it, a healthy comment from the public.
He says he stands by it.
I'm coming to that. It's not a healthy comment from a public officer. I say it's not healthy, please. It's divisive, please. Please. I say it is not healthy because it does not bring people together. It has the tendency to bring them apart, take them apart, or to divide them. So I don't endorse it. And I believe strongly that the president, you see, as a group, you always look at your leader. There's no way the president will make such an open comment. It will be difficult because it is not wholesome. Now, secondly, so I would urge him that at the forum he made it, TESCON members, that's MPP wing in universities, it might sound appropriate, but once it's in the open, we need to show some humility and modesty. And you know why? Let me give you an example. In Lejokuku, where I'm the MP, we lost in 2012 by a vote difference of over 12,000. Within 4 years,
it has changed.
It has changed plus 2,000. We won by 2,000 plus. Now, what it means is that we worked hard. The president had a very good policy and all that. But I believe strongly there were some floating voters who saw the need to come to our side because they believed that we were going to act differently from the previous government. In fact, I know there are some NDC people, non-NDC people, who switched camp because they were not happy with the management of their government, or they were mad at the incompetence being shown by the president. So I'm saying all this to let you know that it's not only our kind who brought us to power. There are people who necessarily are not our kind, but they voted for us. If they get the impression that we are saying that we only deal with ours, it is not good for us. So, in fact, this is an unhealthy comment. And the example he gave, that you always treat your wife first and children before you go outside, it looks as if logical. But when you look at what we are dealing with, it still does not explain it. If people are dying out of hunger and you feed only your family all the time, and outside your house people are dying, if you go out there and say that you must look at your family first, nobody will be happy with you. It means there's a problem with conscience. So
sometimes people treat their girlfriends well first before they why that analogy?
Right. So first of all, I have been told, I learned that Mr. Isibuati treats everybody well when they get to South Africa, even in this, but it still does not justify this. I would urge him to come out and say that his comments at the place he was giving, he was trying to charge people, but it is inappropriate. And then we move on. We must show the modesty and humility of the president.
Let me ask you this. You're a party person. How worried should the MPP be? This is a TESCON program. So whoever leaked that audio, that's sound.
You see,
what should have been the motive?
Good. I'm happy. Some of these things serve as, I'll not say warning, but they serve as precedents for us all to learn. You see, wherever I stand to speak, even if the platform is only for my people, such events should tell me that the words can be carried elsewhere. Exactly. So try and carry the same message of telling people that, look, when you work hard for me, I'll have a way of showing appreciation. But be careful not to switch into the realms of implied discrimination or tacit, how do you call it? Discrimination. So that's it. And let's be honest, like Doc, this is an appeal to all those on this, everybody on this platform. Let's be honest, like Doc and myself.
Before we go, University of Education Winneba is in the news, not for very good reasons. We're told the Vice Chancellor is being interrogated by Iyoko. Is it still the same? Is he?
Well, I think very quickly, the Vice Chancellor, as the news is being portrayed, has not been detained. He was not detained by Iyoko. But what is worrying for us was a meeting that was held by Council yesterday to interdict the Vice Chancellor, the Finance Officer, the Deputy Finance Officer, the Internal Auditor, and the Deputy Director for Development, on the premise that there are allegations of documents that have been stolen at night. And their presence there one way or the other is more or less been a hindrance to
investigation.
But we find it quite worrying because the Vice Chancellor, as you are aware, has been injuncted by a competent court of jurisdiction.
So
since
not
July,
been working.
He's not been working. He's even not opposed. So why is this the case? We just hope and pray, and we are going to petition the council to look again at this position, that decision. And if not, we have to go to court. But we just hope and pray that, as we are aware, the case is in court, and there's going to be a ruling on November 28th. We hope and pray that when there is a ruling and it's in favor of the Vice Chancellor, this will not be a stopgap where there will be the case that you are also interdicted.
You see that the court says come back,
but
we
we
have
no. I think that would be against the law, and we will not allow that. And we just pray that this thing, there's finality brought to it.
I'm grateful. Dr. Ahmed Jinapo is a senior lecturer at University of Education, Winneba. Dr. Bernardo Koboy is a member of parliament for the Lejoku constituency, a member of the NPP. And Abdulaziz Mohammed, a member of the NDC, member of parliament for the Mion constituency. Gentlemen, grateful for your Wednesday morning with us. Those of you who send in your comments, Johnny will come back and read all of them. We're grateful for your time with us. Stay with us. The response after this.
Do some messages before we get into talking. Today's message says, hey, sir, so the MPP are telling Ghanaians they came for only MPP members. Yo, 2020 is just here. So are they saying only MPP members voted for them? All right, that's coming from Nana Anochi in Kentin Krono. Also, good morning, TV3 crew. Senior Bright, welcome back. I don't think that corruption in Ghana can be removed completely from the system. Go to passport office and see what kind of envelopes are moving from door to door. That's coming from Amuzu Oscar Solo from Joje in Volta region. Good morning, TV3. Honestly, I think Honorable AC's comments are not new. We hear it all the time from most MPP appointees. It's good everyone now knows the path MPP is leading, doomed for over 44.3% of the people. That's coming from Mohammed Nyangli. Also, someone says, Mr. AC Boating, why? Please, we beg you, in the name of God, you are there for Ghanaians. Why? Kindly see to the needs of Ghanaians and not only your family members. That's coming from OB in Agona, Swedro. Good morning. Talking about the issue of corruption, it's a high time the younger generation should take it upon ourselves to say no to this. This is how we do it. Several occurrences keep growing in the education offices where, for instance, fresh teachers are asked to pay an amount of 150 Ghana cedis for confirmation into the service. This is true because I'm a teacher too. From Fusaini in Asamankesi, he says, good morning, Bright. Lies and vigilantism is now a uniform of this substandard MPP government. But they should know that if this vigilantism continues this way, soon we Ghanaians will start to defend ourselves. Good morning. Yakubu Nwaliwali also says, MPP-led administration in office can only be remembered based on proceed on leave, mob attacks, gargantuan corruption allegations. Public sector salaries payment is very bad these days. Ambassador working for only MPP members refused to pay teachers and contractors arrears. Huge borrowing to increase the country debt stock, families and friends ministerial appointment. And the last but not least is killing our educational system with free SHS. Then finally, Ibrahim Yipambongu, the said High Commissioner to South Africa, should resign before he will be named and shamed publicly and officially. Ghana for us all. So we'll do some more of the messages very soon. But let's delve into a discussion this morning we're having. And this is in light of the Ghana Rice Festival, which is coming on very soon. And so we're going to talk about it to help to promote rice grown in Ghana. Speaking to me, I have Mr. Ivan Sakite. He's the Executive Secretary for Ghana Rice Interprofessional Body, and also the President, Mr. Amoru, right? Did I get the name right? Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
So you can see rice displayed on your screens. This is all rice produced from Ghana. But guys, oftentimes people don't patronize the rice for many reasons. What for you has been some of those challenges you faced from the Ghanaian populace?
Okay, I will take this opportunity this morning to say hello to all our rice farmers, marketers, aggregators, everybody that has been doing their best to make sure that we get all